Hi everyone, I'm Joy Steed, and I am doing my project on Yuyi Morales. And I have some books here of hers that I have been looking at. The first one I want to talk about is Dreamers, because Yuyi Morales, she wrote this book based on her own story. So it is like this autobiography from her own life. She talks about how she dreamed of her baby and what things would be like. And the true story of Yuyi is that she crossed the bridge. She says it here, I crossed the bridge, outstretched like the universe. Adios, corazon. And what she's talking about in this book is when she immigrated to the US with her 2-month-old son. And it's just a beautiful story from her real life. And when she got to the US, how she felt so alone and didn't know the language. And as you can see, Yuyi has this style that is called folk art, that her illustrations are this folk art style. And here she is at the library with her baby. Her mother-in-law introduced her to the public library when she moved here, and she began to just spend hours and hours at the library reading the books in English, learning English, and she had actually been drawing since she was a child herself. So here you see, this is typical of Yuyi Morales to have like you have this little skeleton guy peeking out of her backpack, and that that is from the Mexican Day of the Dead. We have him here, the dog. You always see in her illustrations these the Mexican culture, which is really cool. Her skirt there. And she uses all different kinds of media in her books, in these illustrations. She talks about using photographs, using different textiles that she photographs and then puts into her books. It is really fascinating. And then what I found is at the end of her books, a lot of the time she has where she writes about her own story and how the book was connected to her own story. So, of course, in this book, Dreamers, it's about when she came to the US from Mexico. And a little picture of her there. She is quite an amazing woman, coming from Mexico with her little baby and learning the language and writing books and illustrating books. And another favorite I have here that I wanted to show is Viva Frida. And this is where she tells a little bit of the story of Frida Kahlo, Mexican painter. And Frida was actually quite an inspiration for Yuyi. Frida Kahlo inspired Yuyi Morales in her artwork and to kind of go for her dreams. And here you see that folk art style and the textiles and just the Mexican style there of clothing. So I've really enjoyed Yuyi Morales and her work and pulling out each of these books and seeing what she does. You have the little skeleton guy there again. Beautiful pictures on every page. And another one that I just loved is Bright Star, Yuyi Morales. And you can see again how she likes to photograph the textiles. She does beautiful illustrations. This one is a story of a little fawn. And then you find, while you're reading the story of the fawn, in the end, as is pretty typical for Yuyi's books, is that this was actually telling a bigger story. Telling the story, you see here, the little fawn can't get through the wall, and at the end of the book, Yuyi talks about how she actually used pictures, like different photographs she took of real border walls, and she used those in her illustrations. So Yuyi is incredibly creative in her storytelling, in her illustrations, in the textiles that she uses, and the photography. It's just amazing. I'm so glad that I decided to do my project on Yuyi Morales. Just amazing work that she does. At the end of this book, she talks about why she made this book, various reasons for making it, and then how she made the book. And you can just see the detail that she puts into it. So that is all for my presentation on Yuyi Morales. I really enjoyed her and I highly recommend looking at her books. Thanks.